They say that all good things must come to an end. And on Friday, an association came to a conclusion, its obvious end. And I'm very sure at this point the participants involved would say it was not good. What am I talking about in simple language? Candace Owens is no longer at the Daily Wire. Was she fired? Did she quit? Well, who can say? But for sure, she's no longer there. And I've got a few thoughts on the whole situation. So hang on, folks. We're going to get into all this in just 1 second. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to my electronic front porch and let's talk. Now, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't necessarily comment on this sort of thing, as I consider this to be an internal issue of an organization. However, when the parties involved consist of one of the most controversial conservative commentators coming or going these days in Candace Owens, and on the other side you have the biggest collection of conservative thought under one roof, the Daily Wire, then okay, when one party leaves under very contentious circumstances, that sort of deserves something to be said about it. So let's get into this and I'll kind of give you my thoughts on the whole thing. We start with the post-millennial. Candace Owens out at the Daily Wire. Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring announced it officially on Friday morning. Article by Thomas Stevenson, we have the following. The Daily Wire and Candace Owens have split up as of Friday morning. The announcement was made by Daily Wire CEO Jeremy Boring on Twitter. Daily Wire and Candace Owens have ended their relationship, Boring posted. Owens has been vocal about ending support for foreign wars, including support for Israel's self-defense against Hamas terrorists in Gaza. Ben Shapiro, an outspoken advocate of Israel and a founder of Daily Wire, has taken the other perspective against Owens, although Shapiro has not been in charge of the company for some time. A recent contentious interview between Owens and Rabbi Barclay appears to have been the final straw for her standing in the company. The retraction of an article from Rabbi Barclay on Owens' commentary about October 7th was also retracted amidst the squabble. The Anti-Defamation League posted about the interview saying, quote, white supremacist and Holocaust denier Nick Fuentes is praising Candace Owens' vitriolic anti-Semitism. Owens struck back and posted, quote, if you have not yet watched, I encourage everyone to watch this episode of my show with a rabbi. It is the reason that I have earned the ire of certain organizations. She went on to write, I do not know Nick Fuentes, but you already know that, talking to the Anti-Defamation League from her post. Further, Candace Owens says, what I do know is that everyone can see what you guys are doing to me. Your pattern is well established and the world is waking up to it, she also posted. Owens' connection with the Blexit Foundation that is powered by Turning Point USA will remain unchanged by the incident. She and Brandon Tatum founded the organization in 2018, and the connection to Turning Point USA was announced last year. Back in November 2023, Boring posted around the time that Shapiro made comments about Owens' remarks about the war in Israel and Gaza. At the time, Boring said, quote, in my current capacity, I cannot fire Candace Owens. That is something Ben and I have in common since he is not an executive in the company and cannot hire or fire people. But even if we could, we would not fire Candace because of another thing we have in common, a desire not to regulate the speech of our hosts, even when we disagree with them. Candace is paid to give her opinion, not mine or Ben's. Unless those opinions run afoul of the law or she violates the terms of her contract in some way, her job is secure and she is welcome at the Daily Wire, end of quote. It is unclear at this time if the company and Owens parted ways voluntarily or if she was forced out. Okay, let's get into this. All right. Disclosures up front, even though I really shouldn't have to say them. Do I agree with Candace Owens on everything that comes out of her mouth or everything she writes? Of course not. Do I agree with everything that comes out of the Daily Wire, everything they write, everything they publish, everything they do a video on? Of course not. I have the right as a free-thinking person to agree or disagree with whomever I wish. And for the record, I've never really had a problem saying so. But this whole situation intrigues me because I keep getting the feeling there's more going on here than just a dispute between Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro over the question of the Israeli-Hamas war. But as far as that story is concerned, let's go back in time a little bit. I want to take you to Candace Owens' Twitter page and show you something she posted back in November of last year, which seems to be, or at least is being attributed to be, the catalyst for what started all this. From Candace Owens' Twitter page, quote, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. No man can serve two masters. Either you will hate the one and love the other, or you will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve both God and money." That was November 14th of 2023. Now, as far as what Candace Owens said at the time, she said that she was talking about blessed are the peacemakers in the context of the Israel-Hamas war. Now, whether she was taking a backhanded shot at Shapiro or not, well, in the end, we may never know, but I'm not going to lie, the way that comes across, it kind of seems like she does, because everybody knows that Ben Shapiro is one of the most virulent defenders of Israel, no matter what. Candace is on the other side of that question for one reason or another. I'll let you decide whether that's justified, real, or not. But on the same day that she posted that, a video went up of a party at which Ben Shapiro was at, and he was asked about Candace Owens. Well, this just threw kerosene on the fire. Take a look and take a listen to what he has to say.
Yes, the question was about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt, I think it's and she still works for my company. I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Okay, you heard what he said. She's acting in an unprofessional manner. She's exercising faux sophistication on the matter, and absolutely disgraceful. Okay. So that video posts November 14th, same day as Candace Owens. Well, Ben didn't stop there. The next day, he posted something directly on his Twitter page. "Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, then by all means, quit." Ooh, getting spicy between these two kids. Well, the back and forth goes on, and finally Candace drops the following, which more or less ends it at that time. "You have been acting unprofessionally and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and we have all had to sit back and allow it, and have all tried to exercise exceeding understanding for your raw emotion, but you cross a certain line when you come for scripture and you read yourself into it. I will not tolerate it." Well, that may have stopped it on Twitter, but it didn't stop it in all places around social media. So Candace Owens goes on Tucker Carlson and gets interviewed. Well, take a look at what she has to say when asked about this by Tucker. And then we're going to get down to what I think this may be all about. So check out her comments right now.
And I really don't know the background here. What is that about?
You know, there isn't much of a background. I saw the video when everybody else saw it when I woke up.
No one warned you about it.
Nobody warned me about it. It looks like maybe he didn't know he was being recorded. It looks like it was some sort of a private event. I got no clarity on the issue that he was particularly speaking on. And in what was said, I can't respond to it beyond what he's saying because it's just ad hominem attacks. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not, we disagree, or I don't think she's correct, or maybe she doesn't know what she's talking.
Respond to it on a level of intellect because there's nothing that he has expressed in that, at least in that short clip, that he fundamentally disagrees with in terms of what I said. But I will say that I'm not going to respond with the same ad hominem attacks. Yes. I don't think it helps further discussion. And if that was me that was caught on a video saying that about colleagues that I work with, I would be embarrassed. So I think that the video speaks more to Ben's character than it speaks to mine.
Oh, yeah. You can tell these two kids really love each other. So, what's going on here? Okay. This is what I know generally about Candace Owens, or at least my observation of her. She likes being in charge. And she has had, at least by my understanding, something of a contentious relationship with the Daily Wire for some time now. But I'm not so sure that in the end, out of all this, that she's the one that's losing anything. She's now out at the Daily Wire, either by their hand or her own hand. She's a free agent. She now can do pretty much whatever she wants, unless there's some provisions in the contract that we don't know about that limit what she can do or what she can say. Although, kind of have a hard time seeing that happen, because I can't really see her leaving Daily Wire on her own if she's going to go into a situation where she's not benefiting herself by leaving. Now, this sort of begs the question. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. The next thing you should ask is, who's pushing Humpty and what's in it for them? And that is where I think there's more of this story than what's going on. I want to show you a couple of clips from Viva and Barnes tonight, and they more or less confirm what I'm thinking already. But let's start with the first one. And Viva asks Robert Barnes about this whole situation, and I want you to listen to this because this is fairly interesting.
And that there was and the key issue for her was, one, how does she get out of the contract without her being terminated for cause, so that she couldn't be sued, so that she has certain financial benefits secured under the contract and is not at risk of any liability. And secondly, how does she do so in such a way that she doesn't come across looking like the bad actor, that she maintains her public image and even ideally can portray herself as a victim to get people to rally behind in the process?
Okay. All those are pretty fair questions. Now, was she looking to get out of Daily Wire? Possibly. But if that's the case, then why? Well, that gets to the second clip. So, folks, do me a favor, take a listen to this, and we'll get into it.
I've said for some while here that, and I said at the time, that's exactly what she was going to do, that she was going to use Israel to get herself, weasel her way out of the contract. It was clear all the way back to Steven Crowder when she was busy, pipping herself out for the Daily Wire to bash Steven Crowder, that she was, or Tim Pool appearance, that it was dawning on her in live time that she didn't have such a great contract, and that Crowder had kind of exposed that. And then she saw Crowder goes to Rumble, goes to locals, and is maintaining more independence, probably doing better financially than she is, and increased influence, more influence than she had.
Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Now, am I going to sit here and say that Candace Owens' opinions on the Israel-Hamas conflict are absolute, complete, insincere BS? No. She might have some opinions that she genuinely thinks are heartfelt, and she's standing on what she feels is principled grounds. Okay, fine. I'll give her benefit of the doubt on that. But Barnes brings up a very good point. If you're wanting to find a way to get out of your contract at the Daily Wire, what is the one issue that you could go after or get on the other side of Ben Shapiro of that would finally cause everybody at Daily Wire to say, hey, this isn't working out. Maybe it's best that we part company. Israel-Hamas war. So in the end, did she do this to get out of her contract? Who knows? Maybe she did. Maybe it was just that simple. She wanted a way out. She found a way to do it. She pushed Shapiro's buttons just the right way till finally he goes to Jeremy Boring, the CEO, and says, we got to get her out of here. We've got to get her out of here. So, who wins out of all this? Well, I've got bad news for the guys of the Daily Wire, and this is just my take on it for what it's worth. Fellas, you got what you wanted. You got rid of Candace Owens, either by her walking out or you putting her out. But I'm not so sure you're going to wind up winning this thing in the long run. Here's why I say that. Number one, she's now a free agent. She can more or less do whatever she wants. Number two, you guys look like you're stifling free speech. Okay, what am I getting at? Here's Shapiro on one side of the argument about the Israel-Hamas war. Here's Candace Owens on the other. And it just so happens that Candace Owens walks out of the Daily Wire. Well, maybe walks out's not the right term because we don't really know what happened. But what if the general conservative populace who supports you guys starts viewing this as an issue that you forced her out because she had an opinion that ran afoul of Ben Shapiro? You guys are going to look like you got egg all over your face, and this whole we stand for free speech thing is right out the window. She comes out of this smelling like a rose, and you guys stink like a bag full of fertilizer. And I've got a bad feeling that's exactly what's going to happen. She walks away scot-free. You guys are left holding the fertilizer bag, and you guys are the ones smelling of all this. So it's very interesting to me. Did she do all this to push Shapiro's buttons to get out of her contract? If she didn't, I got to tell you, this, like I say, this one just intrigues me to death. I'm not so sure I've got necessarily any profound insights on this, but man, if she's that cynical, she pulled this one off brilliantly. I'll give her that. But that's what I think about it. What do you think? As we start to wrap up this video, please do me some favors as always. Number one, if you're not a subscriber to my channel, please do so. Number two, please hit the bell for notifications. I want to make sure you're always aware when new material is coming out, be a video or a live stream. Number three, leave a comment below. Number four, share the video around. And finally, give me a thumbs up. My name is Brian Trippett, and I am your Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.